Welcome back, everybody. This is the Between Sundays podcast. I am Bobby.
I'm Justus.
And this is episode 12 of season 1. Everybody, this is our season finale. Season finale of episode 1. And Justus, it's been fun, man. It's been a definitely a new adventure. But we've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And thankful for all the feedback from everybody. Kind of bittersweet. But again, to remind you, not the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
Just the season.
I think, to be honest with you, I am more excited about season 2 than I am getting all of this stuff set up for season 1. I really am. It's been a ton of fun, this learning process of getting everything done. Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? You know, even just talking into a microphone and hearing yourself in the headphones has been, all of it's been a
By the way, for everybody listening, he is yet to listen to a whole episode.
I don't listen to, I can't.
He leaves me to edit, and then he listens to about 5 seconds, and then he's like, I'm done.
Like, so, for instance, like Bobby runs all of the social media except for TikTok. So he'll send me the video for TikTok, and like, I upload it. Like, I don't even listen to that. So I could be saying just gibberish.
I think the only full you listened to was episode 1, wasn't it? I think maybe that.
Maybe.
I remember you talking about you were driving in the car.
That's right, I was.
That was the only one I remember that you said you listened the whole time.
So I've listened to, I guess technically I've listened to the first one. I think that's what burned me out on it.
And like I have to endure it every week when I edit it and put it together.
So if you've still been listening this whole time, you've done better than I have.
Y'all have all listened more than Justus
I am the worst listener of this podcast. So
I mean, he says he lived it, so that's good enough for him. So,
but no, I am incredibly thankful for this opportunity, and then, you know, on the flip side, completely ecstatic about, you know, everything that's going to come with season 2.
Oh yeah, season 2. Man, we've been talking about it for a couple weeks now, and we are definitely looking forward to it. We'll be a little sad at the break. We'll have a little break in between season 1 and 2. Just some things that we're getting ready, and as we roll into the next season, and. But I know especially some of the topics we're looking at, just going even deeper and further, you know, compared to what we've done with season 1. Of course, there'll be some fun topics in there. We don't want to be so serious all the time. We got to laugh a little bit. And I know several
we'll pick
of y'all,
the serious ones and still laugh.
Yeah, we still laugh at those anyway. Who knows? Maybe another weird Bible stories episode. That'll get thrown in there. I think that one was fun hearing the feedback. The weird Bible stories. There's a lot of people that come out and say we laughed the whole time.
There was some disappointment in that episode too.
There was.
I did get a couple phone calls after that one. Hey, you teach the whole counsel of the Bible there.
I know. Well,
I know,
you know, we were
still.
just kind of, you know, giving them the short answer of everything.
Yeah, and I told him, I said, you can go read it for yourself.
That's right. I mean,
read it for yourself, record it, send it to as many people as you want to.
They do have a Bible. They can go read it.
Yeah,
but that was definitely a good one. You know, we got around the holidays. There's a couple holiday episodes. Those were pretty. Yeah. I think the resolutions here and the stats and the numbers and you know, just stuff. I think, of course, we did have that like 8-minute rant of Thanksgiving food on the one episode that people were like, y'all talked for 8 minutes on what you're eating at Thanksgiving. I was like, it's very important.
Yeah,
so
it's just things we love.
That's right. I mean, you got to clarify all those things. So, but no, it has been so much fun. Everybody that has, you know, come up and talked to us, those of you that have messaged us, text messages, all of those things. And what's cool too about it is not just our teens. Man, we've talked with parents that are listening.
Yeah.
Leaders that have, I know friends of ours that are leaders that have messaged you about it, and just encouragement to them. And so, you know, and that's been our heart. I mean, obviously through a lot of this, we really wanted something for our teens to listen to, our students. I mean, because again, we kind of threw that out in the beginning. There wasn't a lot of that we could find. A lot of student pastor-driven podcast or ministry position podcast, but nothing necessarily geared for students. Yeah. And so that was our goal, but always with a hope that, you know, a mom or a dad or anybody could listen and get an encouragement from it. So We are so appreciative of the feedback. It led to, at times, longer episodes because they said it wasn't enough. And just kind of really, obviously making sure we do our part and try to be intentional in this and encourage you guys and be a help to everybody out there. And, people, it's been funny hearing people, we've done the shout outs and I didn't get mine yet. I was like, well, just wait. So maybe some season 2 shout outs or we've messed with people, well, you got to listen first to get one.
You got to give, and I still think this is I think Bobby's tired of me even bringing this up, but you got to give shout outs to our new listeners though. What was it, five downloads from?
Oh yeah. So I don't think we've said it yet officially on here. I don't have we?
No, we haven't. And we may have.
We may have. If we have, just humor us. It's fine. Yeah. So of course, with everything as we post and as we
now you got me second guessing. Have we said this on here?
I don't know. I know we've told our wives. We've told our students.
I've told anybody that would listen.
Yeah.
Well, saying now that you got me second guessing because when Wednesday night I said it, and then as you were in the middle of the announcement, I was like, I told you to say this announcement last week too. So we're doubled up now.
I think we told our teens. But not on here.
I thought we told the teens twice though.
We may have. Either way.
Let it rip.
Either way. Act as if you've never heard this before.
Yeah.
But no, so of course every time we post all this stuff, every episode, we get to see kind of the reach of it, which is pretty cool. And
if you listen on the website Podbean.
Well, no, it does some of the other stuff too.
Does it?
Yeah, it's Apple Podcasts, some Spotify, things like that. So it pulls in. It does pull
more
in
than I thought it did.
Every platform.
Okay.
So there's a map that we get to see. And so, of course, right off the bat, you're looking at a world map and, the U.S. is green. And so that was cool anyway, just to know, hey, it's not blank. So we at least one person listened to us. So we
thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom. Appreciate it. Always count on our moms. They come through. So we're looking at it. And, of course, we're looking at the different states immediately, South Carolina, Georgia, some places that kind of Justus and I are connected through ministry, things like that, friends we've had, college, I think, guys that things like that. Of course, our families, North Carolina, Alabama, stuff like that. And so that was for a while. I mean, probably 6 weeks, 7 weeks of, every time we posted, we just kind of saw the states. And I remember we got our first kind of California listen, which we were like, we don't know anybody there.
I have no idea.
Still don't know who that is. Whoever you are in California, thank you so much for lighting up that part.
Never thought I'd say that, but thank you for you that live in California.
So we've had that. We're, it's up in Virginia, West Virginia, of course, down in Florida, just different places.
Yeah.
And so the other week we were looking through, and most of the time to see the states we're in, we have to click on the U.S. part of it. So I go pull up the first map, and all of a sudden there's this little green outside of the U.S., which was so cool. And so we've actually had a few downloads in France. We've had a few downloads in India and in Sweden.
Sweden, yeah.
Yeah, Sweden. I was about to say Swiss. That's not,
Swiss
not a
cheese.
place. Sweden. So anyway, yeah, it's been pretty cool. So, I mean, it's
shout out to our international
out to our international friends, whoever that is. And if that's you, message us. We want to know who it is.
Yeah.
And but we do thank you so much for that. It's just been cool to see it. I mean, we're kind of like kids at Christmas with it every time. We get a new comment or post or share, anything like that, and it thrills us.
And I think the reason is we had such a heart for our teens.
Yeah.
And then the fact that, the heart for our teens are still there, but it's reaching out a little bit past that.
Yeah.
That's the blessing that we get from seeing people listening and praying that it's being a help and a blessing to them. And it's not about, if it was the 60, 70 kids we've got in teens, that's the only people that listen, we would still do it.
Oh, absolutely.
But the fact that we've got more people that want to grow closer to the Lord, that's the encouragement.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, we encourage you, help share it. Again,
Subscribe.
We don't want subscribe, share. I'm still getting used to all the lingo you have to say, or you encourage them to do. I say as
Most
you
time
get
you're just
out
like,
there.
stamp us or write us.
Yeah, old school. We've talked about this, how old I am with Facebook and MySpace, so we don't have to get into that again. But we are very thankful, and we do pray that as we move forward, it can be something that can help people, and just we've talked about it from the beginning. We feel like there's a lot of conversations we can have in this space here that almost are sometimes a little easier in here than maybe on a Wednesday night with our teens, or even Sunday from behind a pulpit, because at the end of the day, I mean, you and I are both preachers. Obviously, when we stand behind a pulpit, you do share a little bit of your heart, but you're still trying to give them, kind of that sermon in a sense of give them a direction to look at. But a lot of this, you have a little more time if if there's been shows where we've been a little more open about things, a little more transparent in places in our lives, that I feel like kind of is a little easier in this space at times.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen that with our students and their conversations with them. So, again, we appreciate it, guys. And
a big announcement at the end of the episode.
Big announcement at the end of the episode. Yeah, you gotta listen to the whole thing. So that's how they do it on social media. They tag you. You're like,
Yeah.
They say, hey, if you.
I've always wanted to say that we don't actually have an announcement. No, we actually do have an announcement. But I've always thought like
we'll say that at the end of everyone.
Yeah.
Just so they listen to it.
Listen to the whole thing, and then
it's kind of like nowadays why you stay at the movie theater till the credits get done, because there's at least with like Marvel movies. You're waiting for the end scene, and all that stuff. So there's always that little thing at the end that I find myself now doing it for movies that aren't even Marvel. It's like, okay, will they? Maybe, just maybe, they have something. And then my boys are like, let's go. I'm like, no, there might be something.
There might be something else.
So it's a couple movies have done it too. So
sometimes it'll be like some dumb little thing at the end, like one little thing, and then it's over. It's like,
I get mad when it's not like a good scene at the end. I throw popcorn, all that good stuff. So, but episode 12, season 1 finale, and I guess if we kind of threw a title on this one today, we just want to say kind of this thought, run with this thought of still showing up, and a lot of times with our faith, we think we got to have it all together. We think we got to have everything figured out, but sometimes it's about just showing up, just being faithful in our Christian life, just being faithful in our walk with the Lord. And I guess if I kind of asked you a question today, those of you listening, it would be this: how many of y'all, kind of at the end of this season, were maybe thinking that you'd be further by now in your Christian walk, maybe be closer to the Lord? We set expectations a lot of times in life, and we kind of have these ideas in mind of what successful Christian living is, or a strong relationship with God is. And sometimes it just doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes we are not where we want to be. Sometimes we're not as far as we think we ought to be, or as close to God as we want to be. And if we're not careful, we can get disappointed in those things. Mm-hmm. We can get disappointed in what we think the outcome should be at this point. Whether you take it back to, a New Year's resolution, you're like, I want to, lose weight. And you're like, well, I've only lost this much by this time. We get discouraged, And I say this as we go into this episode: don't set unrealistic expectations on your life. Don't have these higher expectations. For you students that maybe you're wanting instant growth, and we live in that society. I've heard preachers say a lot of times we live in a microwave society. We want to hit 30 seconds and it's heated up and done. But life gets busy. Our faith can feel inconsistent. We can feel like praying sometimes, and then sometimes we don't feel like praying. And so that's really why we're doing this episode today. And I want to say this: if you're still listening, if you're still a part of all this, if you're still going one day at a time, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
I believe you're doing exactly what God would have you to do and keep on going, because we don't always have to have the big victories. We don't always have to have the big moments in this Christian life. And I know you see it a lot too, man, in our youth and stuff. They have a big moment and then they think it should all be like that, all the time. And that's not always how life is. Back when I was in Bible college, our pastor, he was running that college then, and he said this phrase that I'll never forget, and I believe goes well with this today. But he said, any step in the right direction is a good step.
Yeah.
And that has stuck with me so much through the years, in my personal spiritual life, in ministry, in so many things, that just any step in the right direction is a good step. And so that's why we say, if you're still showing up, if you're still being faithful, if you're still reading more than you're not reading, if you're praying more than you're not praying, then we want to encourage you, and we want to let you know that just keep going, and you're heading in a right direction, I believe, for the Lord and your life.
Yeah, and you can fill in the blank with anything that has to do with being faithful or consistent. I think a lot of times we get complacent with the small thing isn't big enough for us.
Yeah.
And we start becoming discontent with what the Lord allows us to do. And kind of what you said as far as any step in the right direction, that doesn't have to be a big step.
No.
And I think was the emphasis of what he's saying is, it doesn't matter if it's a big step or a little step. If you're not going down the wrong path, you're going down the right path. And
yeah.
I think a lot of times we look at some of these preachers or even just ministry workers, even just people that we look up to spiritually. They say, man, I want to be like them, but we don't want to go through what they had to go through to become that.
Yeah.
You kind of look at, we've got some trees here at the church we're going to cut down. Like, those tall pines did not get the way they were overnight.
Yeah.
But little bits of growth kind of help make them into what they are now. And so, it's definitely something of having the right mindset of if you're growing, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be the big things. Like I said, I think a lot of times we become dissatisfied for truthfully what the Lord allows us to do in the small things.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what this episode is about, is staying consistent.
Yeah.
I think I don't remember who I heard say this, and I even talked about it in Bible class today. Serving the Lord in whatever capacity never pays great. But the retirement plan is out of this world.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we're going to see the reward after it's all said and done one day instead of today. And I think that's kind of sometimes that we need that little shot of the arm of encouragement and says, it's not about us. It's about Christ. And it's about one day this is all going to be worth it all.
Yeah.
And it is worth it all right now, but it's definitely going to be worth it all when we see Jesus. So
absolutely.
That's kind of the encouragement today as far as this episode.
Yeah. Well, we get wrapped up in what our view of faith is. Because like you said, we at times think about it like this, you get into Hebrews and you hear this hall of faith, and we see these characters in the Bible, these people in the Bible that did amazing things for God. But here's the thing we got to understand. Their whole life story isn't only wrapped up in that chapter.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go back through the book, you see their struggles.
Read some of the names on there.
Yeah. I mean,
Samson's in there.
You see their ups and downs. I mean, you look at somebody like a David. Yeah. I mean, a spiritual giant that he is. Bible says literally calls him a man after God's own heart, But go read Psalms. Yeah. Go look at the ups and downs and all those things. And, you look at Moses. Just phenomenal Christian and what he did for the Lord. But he still had his moments and all these things. And it's so easy with faith And then you step outside the Bible. Maybe you have a pastor you look up to, or a youth pastor, or you have a mom or a dad or somebody, or grandma or grandpa, that they were a spiritual giant in your life, and we can get this messed up view of what faith is, or what we think it is, because, and we've talked about it before, we only see the good moments.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you're comparing yourself to somebody on social media, and you're seeing, oh, it just looks like they're just floating above the ground all the time spiritually, and just all these great things are happening. But we don't see the messed up times in their life. And, what faith is not, it's I'll say this, it's not always feeling it, right? It's not, faith is one of those things where you're doubting at times, you're wondering at times.
Yeah.
It is something that, based on our feelings and based off of our emotions at times, we can almost get discouraged in it, because we want to be like, well, I want it to be this all the time. I see this person and what's happened in their life, or I read about this person in the Bible and all the things that they did for the Lord. But we've got to look at the big picture of it. For all the good moments, it's kind of like this. If I'm in life and I'm on a mountaintop, for me to get to the next mountaintop, sometimes I gotta go through a valley. Yeah. It's in those valleys sometimes that sometimes we see some of the greatest parts of who God is, and we see where our strength lies. We see where our help comes from. We see that I don't have to know all the steps, and God can help me through those things. And so, if we talk about what faith is not, let's look at what faith is. It's choosing not to quit. Yeah. It's one of those things of saying, Lord, it ain't all what I desire it to be right now. It isn't going exactly how I thought it would go. If truth be told, I would not have signed up for this storm or this valley or this thing, but I'm choosing not to quit, and I'm going to stay in it if it's uncomfortable, if it's things I don't understand, any of those things. God, I'm going to stick with you, and I'm going to stay in this thing. I may not understand it. I may not know where I'm going. I may not can see my hand in front of my face, but I know you're there, and I know that if I stick with you, then I'll get through it, and I can find the other side of that thing. So, it's just that, like we're talking about from the beginning, stay consistent, keep showing up, keep being there, letting God use your life, even if it is uncomfortable, even if we don't understand.
Yeah, the big thing that I love about any story with the disciples is there was times where they were encouraged by what the Lord was doing.
Yeah.
They saw him feed the multitude. They saw him heal. And then there was times where he's sending them in a boat to go out into the middle of the sea, and a storm comes. And there was a time they doubted, but there was never a time they just quit.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of times young people, and you can fill in the blank for anything we're talking about here. This could be as something as big as pastoring a church or just reading your Bible.
Yeah.
But a lot of times when we quit, that's the part where we realize that we failed. And I think giving up should never be part of the vocabulary for a Christian.
Yeah.
Or I quit shouldn't be part of the vocabulary for a Christian. It always should be, the Lord knows what he's doing. The Lord's still working on me. And no matter what the circumstance may come, I still know he's with me. And I think kind of going as far as the growth side of it is, a lot of times it takes repetition to grow. Yeah. And I think that's part of, with this episode, I kind of think about what causes people to not be faithful.
Yeah.
And I think it's just, we get complacent with, well, somebody else did A, B, and they got C. Or maybe we've done A, B, and our C looks a little different. And staying faithful, knowing that it's not about you, it's all about him. It's always going to be about him. And keeping the main thing reminds me, at least, that when times do get tough, he's always with me.
Yeah.
And it makes it easier to stay consistent when you remember it's about Christ and he's always with you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, one thing I was thinking about, you was talking about the disciples through seeing their journey with Jesus, their walk with the Lord, throughout their ministry with him, is whether it was in the big moments, right? From, it's like, kind of what you was talking about, go from feeding of the 5,000, very much big moment, that they experienced a new side of Jesus, saw a new side of God and what he could do and all these things. I mean, fed all these people from just scraps, all these people taken care of. By the way, had leftovers, which every good Baptist loves, just good leftovers, take home and enjoy it from the big potluck, But, taking baskets with them, all that stuff. So they experience God with this big moment, right? But then they get out on the boat. And I'd say this, I think it'd be easier to quit if I only experience God in the hype moments or the big moments. But the fact that whether through the good or through the bad, I can still experience God and still see him do something in a way I never thought was possible, I think is what can maybe help encourage us to keep going.
Yeah.
Because just as much as they saw a God thing happen in feeding of the 5,000, they saw a God thing happen out on the water when he brought them through that storm. And, that's why I kind of echo what you're talking about in that repetition of things. Like, don't just think God only moves in one way or in one instance. But I've often referred at times in my Bible class to God almost like a diamond. That for a diamond to shine, for you to appreciate it, it's got to have the facets. And for me to appreciate God, I've got to see all the facets of who he is.
Yeah.
And so one facet of God may be when the sun is shining and everything's good, and man, he's passing out food galore and all this stuff, and we're having an all-you-can-eat buffet. But one facet of God where I appreciate him is in my darkness and in my storms and in my struggles, and yet he still comes in and saves and helps and brings me through that. But I wouldn't be able to see those things if I didn't stay consistent with the Lord.
Yeah.
Think about if the disciples had just said, okay, we've had this big thing. Lord, call us when you feed them again. Or let us know when you're doing the next big, grand, miraculous thing. Think about what all they would have missed out on if there wasn't consistency in their walk, consistency in their times with God. And consistency is always going to beat, I believe, the big moments. Just staying faithful and all of those things. Because it's like this. We all love a big Sunday service. We all love it, man, when it just gets good and God moves. But what would I miss out on the times where it's more quiet at my house or in the office here or anything like that, when God's just speaking to me, or when I'm going through a struggle? And, there are things that I believe fully that I would never have experienced with God if it wasn't for the storms I went through, or if it wasn't through the struggles, that I faced in life. And so, yes, I mean, that consistency can encourage us to show us so many other sides of who God is.
I don't think there's a better example of staying faithful and consistent in the Bible or somebody I can think of. And I can think of some really, really good ones, but I think the best example of staying faithful is Paul.
Yeah.
I think everything that he went through, continue to realize what the goal was. And the goal was never a pat on the back. It was never a attaboy. It was never a, hey, I see what no one else is seeing. It was always, he knew the end goal was heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times we take our focus off of that and we put them on things for what we can see and feel and touch right now. And as you were talking, it reminded me of this verse, which I wish I would have planned it out a little bit better than this. But
hey, sometimes the impromptu moments.
2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 10. Paul says, he's writing to Timothy, he says, "For Demas hath forsaken me, having loved this present world." And it kind of goes on a little bit more. But Paul, writing this, a man who is probably the most faithful Christian in prison and persecution and being beaten, and you fill in the blank, Paul probably had it done to him, but he stayed faithful. And I think it's not about, just staying faithful, but staying faithful and still showing up when it counts. Yeah. Because Paul had so much opportunity that probably a lot of us Christians, not lost people, a lot of Christians would have said, I would have understood if Paul would have given up right here. But he stayed faithful. And Paul had so many people along the line that was in his ministry, Demas being one of those, of saying, Demas hath forsaken me, loving this present world. And I hope with this episode, if it encourages one person to say, I can keep going just a little bit more. Yeah. Or I know I haven't gotten the pat on the back. I know I haven't gotten the good job. We want those things. We desire those things, But at the same time, we're not in it for us. And I think that's what Paul had such a good grasp on. And it's something even more recently I've been trying to do a better job of making sure that I don't get so caught up in wanting that encouragement all the time. Yeah. But realizing that, you can still encourage yourself in the Lord of one day this is going to be, we're going to see the fruit of all of our labor. Yeah. And I think that's one thing Paul did such a good job. So staying faithful when it counts, and remembering that God doesn't favor, a super high moment over just being faithful. Yeah. I think God a lot of times is disappointed in us when all we had to do was just be faithful. Yeah. I think a lot of times we put so much pressure on ourselves. Sometimes we can put over realistic pressure on ourselves, when in reality He's just asking us to be faithful. And sometimes I've prayed, Lord, I don't know what I'm going to do when I get there, but I'm just going to get there. Yeah. And I don't think I've ever had a time where I didn't know what to say, I didn't know what to do, didn't know where to go, but I knew where the Lord wanted me to be. And for instance, like coming here, I didn't know what all Bible college was going to entail. Yeah. But, trying my hardest just to do that next thing I knew that was right, that next step in the right direction. And, He's not calling for you to have it all figured out. He's calling for you to be faithful. Yeah. Well, and I look at this, and you was talking about coming here for Bible college and things like that. Showing up, being faithful in those things, it's got to stem from trusting that even though we don't understand, God still knows what He's doing through it. Like you said, and I was in the same boat. I went to Bible college in 2006, and I know, been a minute. Let's see, how old was I in 2006? Oh, don't go there. I was 4 in 2006. 4? Oh my goodness. In 2006? I was 4 in 2006. Oof. Yeah, I'm old. You was in college at 2006? I graduated high school. Oh my goodness. In 2006. You graduated high school in 2006. And moved to college in 2006. Wow. Yeah. My brother will be 18 this year. He was born in 2008. Yep, I was born in 88. Wow. So just before the 90s. Oh my goodness. Yep. Good times. Golly. But I mean, I look at even when I moved there, then I didn't know everything that was going on. Just like you said, you didn't know everything. But
I trusted that God knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And same, you wouldn't have moved here if you didn't trust him.
Yeah.
And so showing up, being faithful, just, again, looking at those disciples of having these moments, and they had rough times, yet they still stayed with them. That can only happen with a trust in him. Mm-hmm. And more than just trust for our salvation. And we've talked about this. It's amazing how we'll have full faith and trust in God that we're saved, but then wonder, can he do something else?
Yeah.
It's like, I think if he took care of the eternity thing.
Lord, I really hope you do this. I really hope, Lord, I know you're able to, but I really hope you do this. Like,
I mean, it's amazing. We can wonder if the day-to-day things can be taken care of, but we're like, but God changed my eternity. Like, I'm literally not going to hell and going to heaven.
I'm going to heaven, but I don't know how these bills are going to get paid.
Yeah, it amazes me that, but that showing up is just having that it really is an act of trust, of just saying, God, it don't make sense. I don't understand. I don't know how I'm going to get through this. God, I know you've got an answer. I don't see it yet, but I'm trusting that you're going to do it. And I think one of the things that should encourage us is go back to when God did it before and trust that if he did it then, he'll do it again.
Exactly.
And so if God brought you through a storm one time, or God brought you through a bad thing or a good thing, whatever you go through, if God has proven himself before, why do we doubt later what God's going to do when the next thing shows up? And so I look at it like this: if in our faith and in our life, we was talking about just showing up in the little things, all those stuff. I look at times when I've tried to get in my Bible and it's not always jumping off the page like I want it to. It maybe even feels, and I'll say this, as a preacher, that can be a discouraging spot to be in when you're trying to read your Bible. One, for personal gain, but two, knowing you got to preach whatever day of the week and you're not getting anything.
Yeah.
Still get in that Bible. If God has brought you through a dry spell one time, God will bring you through a dry spell another time. If God has, answered a prayer in one moment, God will do it in the next. When life doesn't feel spiritual enough, right? And we've talked about this before. You can't always go off of your feelings. But for you students, when youth group doesn't feel as spiritual as you want it to be, or anything like that, just trust him that he's going to show up, that he's going to give you, what you need in your life. When the prayers don't seem to, you feel like they're not getting above the ceiling or anything like that, don't think they got to be big intellectual things. Just be faithful in them. Just talk. They don't have to be these big grand moments. We've talked about this kind of at the beginning of all this. It's not the hype moments.
Yeah.
It's just the consistency.
Yeah.
But if you don't trust them, you're not going to stay consistent in those things. And here's the thing that we can take encouragement from. God is faithful even when we're not.
Yeah.
I heard a preacher say at one time that it's a good thing God isn't as faithful to us as we are faithful to him.
Yeah. Because
if that was the case, God would be a God of Sundays and Wednesdays and dinner time.
Yeah.
But what would Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and all those other days look like, in our life? And I was reminded of this scripture, Lamentations chapter 3, which I know some of y'all probably haven't heard the word Lamentations in a while. I don't think we read that much, get into that book. But it says this in verse 22, it says, "It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness." And so we can take comfort in knowing that God is faithful even if our faithfulness is lacking in moments. That God is faithful even when we ain't always feeling it in this life, when we don't always understand it, when we don't know what step to take, that God is faithful for us in this life.
Yeah, no, it sure does feel good when it doesn't feel good, but you remember that God's still faithful.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times I don't think we can overuse that sentence. I think we can grow numb from that sentence, though.
Yeah.
Of just, I don't know, is sentence fatigue a thing? I don't know. Phrase fatigue? I don't know. But the Lord is faithful. And, He is wanting to have a relationship more with you than you're wanting to have a relationship with Him.
Yeah.
And I don't care how much you love the Lord, He is still wanting a relationship with you more than you're wanting a relationship with Him. And I think that kind of can help with filling some of those dry spots sometimes, or feeling like no one cares, because it's not true.
Yeah.
And kind of what we talked about last week of thinking on those things that are true and honest and of good report. It's kind of like, well, if I feel like I'm alone, it's not true. I'm not even going to think about it.
Yeah.
It's because the Lord is with me and the Lord is faithful.
Yeah.
And I think you can have a lot of times in life where you kind of see God working in the middle of, He's working on my circumstance, or He's working on my situation as much as He's working on me.
Yeah.
And I think we said several episodes ago, anything that causes you to pray is a good thing.
Yeah.
Anything that causes you to pray is a blessing. And I think we may have even talked about it last week, a few weeks ago. I don't remember. But there comes a point in a Christian's life that they have to throw up their hands and say, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And, me and my dad were talking the other day. He was saying that there was some episodes for season 2 that he wanted to hear. And one of them was quotes in the Bible that aren't true, or things we quote that we say are in the Bible that aren't actually in the Bible.
He talked to me about that at a basketball game that night. Yeah.
Did he? So he was telling me, he was like, is God giving you more than you can handle in the Bible? I'm like, no, it's not there. It's not there. And I think for that reason, God will give you more than you can handle, just for you to say, I give up.
Yes.
And, getting off topic, staying on topic, that's a beautiful day. Like we said last week, that's a beautiful day in a Christian's life, of realizing I can't do this on my own anymore. And with our faithfulness, remembering that there's times where you're going to fail.
Yeah.
There's times that you're going to not be faithful. And there's never going to be a time that God's not faithful.
Yeah.
There's going to be times where you drop the ball. There's going to be times where you mess up. Does that make you disqualified from ever doing anything else? Absolutely not.
No.
But what will disqualify you is forgetting the Lord's faithfulness.
Yeah.
What does disqualify you is quitting because you feel like nobody's with you, and that's not the truth.
Yeah.
The Lord is always with you, and finding His work in the middle, and the Lord really does want to see you grow.
Yeah.
As much as we want to see you grow, as much as your pastor wants to see you grow, as much as your youth pastor wants to see you grow, you fill in the blank. The Lord wants to have a relationship with you, and He wants to see you grow. There's not anything that's going to happen in your life, and you can say, well, why did this happen, or why did that happen? There's things that happened in my life that I have no idea why that happened. But there was never a time that they didn't help me get better.
Yes.
And a lot of times I hate to say it, but I've seen people in ministry, outside of ministry, and in church, that the storms came and the wind blew, and when it all settled, they weren't there anymore. And they were the ones where Paul wrote and said, Demas has forsaken me, loving this present world. And I don't want that to be the case for any of the listeners. I don't want that to be the case for us
Yeah.
or our family, of saying, well, we forsook the Lord, loving this present world.
Yeah.
I think really realizing that as a Christian is a great thing. And not kind of staying on topic with this, I really saw growth in my life when I tried to be faithful and I tried to do the right thing, and I felt like I was taking all the steps in the right direction. But there was one key thing that was missing. Brother Kevin Kuykendall said this in class one night. He said the two greatest days of a Christian's life, the day they got saved and the day they realized they got saved.
Yeah.
And I realized that night I didn't realize I was saved. I didn't realize what all being saved, what all the benefits came with that.
Yeah.
And really started exercising the fact that Christ is with me, and I am one of his, and no matter how bad the situation might get, I'm still being tested, or I'm still being sent through this for me to get better because of it. And I think a lot of people give up because they never realize that they got saved.
Yeah. Well, and the truth we have to accept is we're gonna have those moments when we're not feeling this thing. We're gonna have those moments where, like you said, you may feel like quitting, or you may feel like giving up in those things in life. You're gonna have those moments where you don't understand what's going on, but it's all in how you respond to those moments. Like you said, there's things that has happened in your life that, truth be told, it may be when you stand before the Lord before you ever really understand why you went through that thing. But it's all in how you respond to it. You could have responded in the wrong way, and guess what? You wouldn't be sitting in that chair, and you wouldn't have the life that you have now and all the things that God's blessed you with. Or you respond in the right way.
My life is good, really good.
Or you respond in the right way, and things move forward. I was talking with my son, my oldest son, the other week about, just some things. And I said, look, it's everybody has those moments that comes up that is really a crossroad of how we respond to it and how we move forward from it. And I kind of told him the same thing. And I've alluded to it a little bit on another episode of, things that have happened, things that happened in decisions I made in college that if I responded in the wrong way, again, like you, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah.
There are things I've gone through. I don't understand why I've gone through those things. Things that have happened to my family that I don't understand why God allowed those things. And I can either get so bent out of shape at not having the answer.
Yeah.
Or I can respond in a way that says, all right, Lord, what do I need to see from it? How can I grow from it? How can I stay trusting in you through it to where I can keep moving forward? Because, God, I may not understand it, but if you were faithful one time, you'll be faithful again.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have those moments where we feel behind. We're going to have those moments where we don't feel like showing up. We're going to have those moments where, we look at people. Again, I was talking with our Bible class today on social media and all this stuff, and everybody can look miles ahead of us spiritually. Everybody can look way far above us, like we're just barely getting it done, and they've got it all figured out. And, we're going to have those moments in our life, but here's the thing, just stay faithful in those things. Stay faithful in those moments. Keep showing up, keep trusting in God, keep knowing that God's going to get you through those things, and God's going to show you something amazing on the other side of it, of who He is, and where your Christian walk can be on the other side of it. One of my favorite verses is Galatians chapter 6 verse 9, and it says this: "And let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not." Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, like, you're going to get tired when it comes to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not...
It doesn't say if you get weary.
Yeah, it's when you do get weary. I mean, here's the thing. you help with some things around our church and stuff like that. It may be a construction thing. We may have to go do something. Anything that involves work is going to involve getting tired.
Yeah.
I mean, you've done other jobs outside of this. I've done other jobs outside of this. If there is activity involved in it, you're going to get weary in it. Now, it's going towards a good thing. It's going towards a finished result or a project to be done, but you're going to get tired in it. But the Bible says this, in the well-doing, and I think that alludes what you're talking about earlier. Like, don't just be faithful in the right things.
Yeah.
And that's why I look at this verse. It doesn't just say, let us not be weary in doing. It says, let us not be weary in well-doing. If we're going to be tired, let's be tired doing the right things.
Exactly.
If we're going to be tired, let it be tired because I'm still showing up, because I'm staying faithful, because I'm reading my Bible, because I'm praying. I may not feel it. I may get tired. I may be exhausted at times. But if I'm going to get tired, let me be tired doing the right things, because it says this, for in due season we shall reap. Not might, not maybe, but we shall reap if we faint not.
Yeah.
And it's just staying faithful in those things. Don't quit because it feels slow. Don't quit because you don't feel like you see the end at the moment. But here's the thing. If you're doing the right things, if you're being faithful in the right moments, like what you were talking about, listen, God's got something for you.
Yeah.
Some of you are 12 episodes into this, and there are things we've talked about that you're like, I would love to see that happen, or when's that going to happen for me in my life? Can I tell you this? Just keep showing up. Be faithful in the right things. And the Bible gives us this promise in Galatians chapter 6. This ain't a suggestion or anything like that. This is a promise from God that he says, hey, stay with me, stick with me, stay faithful in the right things, and I'll show you some things you never expected out of your life.
Yeah. If you are still here on earth, he still has a plan for you.
Absolutely.
And that's worth being faithful at something. If he's not done with you, don't be done with yourself. If he's not done with you, continue going.
Yeah.
Don't. A lot of times you said weary in well-doing. There's times where I have been weary in things that I shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
Or things that I thought were good. Those things don't have any reward other than getting tired.
Yeah.
But it's the weary and well-doing that one day we're going to reap. And if you are still here, if you're still listening to the podcast, if you're still going to church, if you're still reading your Bible, if you're still continuing to wipe the windows at your church, if you're still continuing to pick up little bits of trash, if you're continuing to preach to 10,000 people, if you're still continuing, God is not done with you.
Yes.
And he still has a plan for you. And no matter how small it is, no matter how big it is, he has a plan for everybody. It's important that we continue going on.
Absolutely.
This is something that I tell the basketball team a lot. Being a part of something bigger than yourself it makes you realize you can't do it by yourself.
Yes.
And that's what the Christian life is realizing this is way too big for me. But I've got the person who created me and the person who created the circumstance, and he's in control of it all.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. And we look back at everything we've talked about, and we've gone through a lot.
It's a lot.
There's a lot of subjects.
It's crazy that it's been 12 episodes now.
Yeah.
But it also seems like we still should be getting stuff ready for the podcast. Like it's weird. It's like, well, season 1's done, but I feel like I guess we did get that, or I guess we did. I feel like there's still something left.
Well,
to do.
it's definitely that we still feel like we're just figuring things out for sure. It does. I mean, it feels like moments like it was just the initial text messages of like, hey, what if we did this? You know,
Would we be crazy if?
I remember you were in the Philippines when
Yeah.
it all happened, and it was literally me and you and our wives on a group text, and we like jokingly threw out the idea because they were like, "Well, y'all just talk," you know. And then I remember the next day I'm sitting at the house and I'm just like, okay, what would that look like?
So the way we found out that we were going to do the podcast is I threw out, there was a pastor that we went to, that I went to, and he has kind of a radio station. So we were listening, and I actually got to be a part of his radio station that day. And it was weird, putting the headphones on, and you're talking into a mic. I'm like, I could never get used to this. It's like, this is the most uncomfortable thing ever. Like, we weren't even video, and it was just audio. So this is uncomfortable. How do people talk? Like, how can people just talk for an hour? Like, how does that make sense? And so he kind of like switches it over, and he's trying to get more out of me, and I'm butchering the whole. I mean, it was a terrible thing. I was butchering it bad. And so we kind of got back, and I was laying in bed that night, and I was kind of reflecting, and I was like, that would be kind of cool if we did something like a radio station. So I said something, and I think it was your wife, Heather, that was like, that's what y'all need to do. And I was like, that is the dumbest thing ever. Nobody's going to listen to that. And no joke, probably a day later, I got a picture sent to me of a mixer for podcasting, and I was like, oh, he's actually serious about this.
Yeah.
Like,
I went down a rabbit hole.
He's serious about this. And then we started coming up with the name.
A lot of trial and error.
Yeah. There was a good... have we ever said what the original name?
No, we've never said. So that was another thing that came out of the conversation. I text back and I said, well, what would we call said podcast? Which I know you and your sarcasm and humor. Like, I knew something good was going to come back. And of course, my name, of course, everybody knows my name's Bobby, but my last name's Pascal. And then, of course,
Social Security number 42354.
We'll flash that up later in the bottom of the screen. But of course, Justus's first name, and so you threw back the idea of BP and J.
I thought that was so good. I thought it was so clever.
So there was graphics mocked up and everything of that.
And let me just say, thank God we did not choose that name.
Yeah, no. Looking back now,
that was, and the fact that I was thinking about this the other day, we liked that name too.
We did.
We were almost sold out on that. BP and J. Yeah, this has got a good ring. We had a logo that was like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
We had a lot.
I was like, man.
We look back now, we're like, that was dumb.
Thank you, Lord, for not letting us pick that name.
Who knows? Maybe that'll be the crazy antic side of things, the little more lighthearted side of things. But it was a lot getting to this point, man, and a lot of talks, a lot of conversation, a lot of prayer, a lot of like, where do we go? What do we do? A lot of Google and how do I even get this going? And like I said, we've talked about a lot. We've gone into identity, we've gone into anxiety and faith in real life, and what does it look like in school and all these things. And the one thing I would encourage you from all of this, with this whole season, is we don't want you to just retain a lot of information. We've thrown out a lot, and there's a lot of Bible we've talked about, and a lot of stories from our life and transparency and things that God's brought us through and all the things, our mess ups and goods and bads and all those things. And I'm thankful for every conversation and every time we've hit record and everything that God's allowed us to do. But if all you do is just retain the information from what we've talked about, there's nothing that's going to happen. Yeah. And the biggest thing we encourage you is just we want real transformation in your life. They used to tell us this in Bible college all the time, and it's always stuck with me. But information without application leads to no transformation. And so, we will always strive to do our best to give you all the Bible that we can, and give you all of what it says, and as best we can convey to you how this can help you in your walk with the Lord. And we want to do our best. That's why we try to challenge you guys and give you ways to apply it to your life and all these things. But if you don't let it work in your life, no change is going to happen. I've been fortunate this past year to teach through the book of James in our Bible college, and it clearly in James, and the whole message of James, it says, be doers of the word, not just hearers. Putting that faith to action in our life and letting it really change us, and bring about not just a Band-Aid fix, but real change, real transformation, that can get us to that next day and that next step that God has for us.
Yeah, I think this whole season has been us, and kind of thinking back and reflecting. Like there were some nights we didn't get out of here till after midnight recording.
Oh man.
There's some early mornings. There's some, hey, you got an hour and a half that you can break away. Let's do this real fast.
Absolutely.
Because life does get busy, and
I remember we had this big grand plan of like we're gonna record like 3-4 episodes and have this cushion, and
we did,
and then
we didn't,
and we haven't since then,
and we haven't. No,
but hey, we've showed up. We've been here.
And that's what I'm getting at, is we've tried our best to be faithful.
Yeah.
And we have no idea if this is even going to make an impact on anybody.
Yeah.
But we know that if we put Bible out there, whoever, if we do all this for one person in 30 years to find this podcast and listen to it, it would have all been worth it all.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
it already has been. I mean, just the comments and the things that have happened.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's been a good run.
It has been.
I'm thankful for it.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a season for us to just give mindless information, but it was.
Though we can.
Yes, we are good at it.
We've proven that.
Yes, but it's us sitting here before we hit record, praying that this episode transforms somebody's life.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Well, guys, season 1 has been so much fun.
Don't be sad.
Don't be sad.
Nope, don't be sad.
Season 2's
no
coming.
tears.
And,
put your brave face on.
That's right. That's right. We know there'll be a little lull in the week.
I'm a very sentimental person. I would rather just keep season 1 going, but there's some big news.
There is big news, and we'll get into that in a second. And I do want to challenge you. I
forgot we got to do that.
We got a little application.
A little application. We'll do this, we'll do it.
But I want to give you one more verse for this one. Hebrews 10:23 says this: "Let us hold fast the profession of our faith without wavering, for He is faithful that promised." And so, look, life is going to feel messy. Keep showing up. If you've messed up, keep showing up. If you feel tired, keep showing up. And hold fast to that profession of your faith. If God's been good to you, and He has been, look, we can shout and say amen just because of salvation alone.
Yeah.
But if there's just been one other thing that God's done for you, if God's proven Himself here, if God's proven Himself there, to kind of tie all of this in from what we talked about the other week, thinking on those things, look back at God's goodness in your life, and just trust Him and stay faithful, still show up. And you never know what God's going to do out of your life. In those days you don't feel it, you're going to get past them.
Yeah.
And you're going to live in those days where you know it. And you're going to be excited about what God is doing in your life. And so, guys, again, we love y'all. And we appreciate you. And we thank you for showing up this season.
Yeah.
We thank you for listening to the episodes and being a part of it and all the feedback.
Season finale, I forgot to put the timer, so I have no idea how long this
we just
episode is. I just realized that.
We just been talking. Yeah, we try not to talk too much, but I've enjoyed it, and it's been a great conversation today. And he's right. We do have some big news. Do you want to share? I'll let you go into.
So, our goal with the podcast is to step through doors the Lord has allowed us to step through.
Yes.
and we've got kind of big news that we're not going to be in this room
Yes.
next season. So
Yes.
that's the big encouraging part on our part. We're excited about that. It's going to be a different look.
Yeah.
Truthfully, that's kind of why we're needing a little time for season 2 to start.
Yes, don't be sad. We got to take a little break to
I think we said
get some things in order.
Did we say the first Monday in March?
I believe so, yes, unless like the Lord comes back. That's I mean, which is fine.
Well, I'll text somebody else, have them do it.
Yeah, we can have somebody else do it. So.
But no, so we'll probably be back first Monday of March.
That's the other thing too. Be on the lookout because some of our drop days, things like that's changing as well.
Yes.
Some of the.
So this is the time. If you have feedback, send it to us.
Yes.
No matter what it is, send it to us because we're finally getting past the part of like, what is podcasting?
Yes.
And we're kind of like, okay, now we kind of need to iron some of the stuff
I finally
out.
finished the Podcasting for Dummies book, so we're ready for the next part of it.
Yeah. So if you have recommendations, like, for instance, one recommendation was, Thursdays is kind of a weird time for a release drop at 3:30.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't know that.
Yeah, we didn't know.
That we did the best we could.
Yes.
But
Google told me wrong.
Some people recommended for Monday mornings. So we might try Monday mornings, might be Monday afternoon. We don't know yet. Send recommendations in, but we will be in a new studio.
Yes, absolutely.
So
it's so cool.
I'm so excited about it. That's something I never thought it would get to.
Yeah.
But the fact that I feel like the Lord's blessing it.
Yes.
And it's nice to feel like the Lord's proud of a decision that you decided to go with, because we spent a lot of time praying about this and deciding if we do this, we want to do it right.
Yes.
And I feel like we've tried our hardest to honor the Lord in all of it, and I feel like we're getting some of those blessings.
Absolutely. So yeah, guys, and we'll say this through the break, we're still going to be on all the social media platforms. We'll be,
well, up to date.
Justus loves his TikTok videos.
I love TikTok,
and different things, so we're going to still be doing that stuff. We may throw out some clips that you haven't seen from some of the other episodes that we feel are good. We may even go try to find some bloopers here and there.
There's plenty of them.
There are things out there that y'all have not seen yet.
Do not let us fool you. We do not hit record and just give you the raw, unfiltered. The world can't handle that.
No, it is polished a little bit.
But but you might get some.
Yeah, so we're going to be putting stuff out there, letting you guys see kind of our side of things. And I know we've talked about a little bit kind of going into season 2, just times where it's out from the mics and just kind of having some fun out in places.
Yeah.
We have a lot of good opportunity around here with having a youth group and a day school and a lot of things around here that between Sundays may go out of the studio some and just kind of some interaction with students, getting in their faces and in their world and all that stuff. So yeah, a lot to be looking at, as we release the new drop day and times. Just kind of be on the lookout on social media for that.
What all social media are we on?
So of course we're on TikTok because I know they've probably seen the videos that you put out. By the way, the last one, like everybody, I got so many messages like y'all are an idiot. So if you haven't seen the last one, go check that out. But we're TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook as far as main social media pages. All of those are, of course, under Between Sundays podcast. And you'll see
_between_Sundays _
yeah. So look for this logo right here. That's on all of our stuff. And then, of course, we are on YouTube. That's where, of course, our main videos go. And then the old people Facebook. So, but we, try to get out there more. We are looking to expand into Spotify video for season 2 as well. So some of you have talked about that, Spotify video. So we're going to be not just the podcast side, but putting videos out there as well. So we're doing all that we can for you guys as you've given feedback, just trying to make it really as just as great for y'all as we've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And so again, a lot to be looking forward to. Continue to look at the social media pages, all that stuff. And we're excited. We're going to be in new space, new subjects, new conversations.
Yeah.
and it's going to be good. So, guys, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Again, thank y'all for still showing up.
Yes.
And I'm going to say what you said back at the first one. Hey, if you've made it this far, go get you a cookie.
Get you a cookie.
Eat a dozen, one for every episode. That's all I care. And you might feel bad after that. Maybe pace yourself. But, guys, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And we'll see you in season 2.
Couldn't do it without y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.